All right, we are live back on our How to Be a Happy Human channel here for our weekly wake up. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. My name is Sarah Longoria, your host for the weekly wake up, where we are all about talking about the things that are keeping you from your happiness, right? This is how to be a happy human. This is our channel. I feel like at the end of the day, that's what we're all after, right? Why do you want more money? Because you think it's going to bring you happiness. Why do you want that special person in your life? Because you think it's going to bring you happiness. Why do you want to be healthy? Because you think it's going to bring you happiness. Why do you want all the things that you want? Because at the end of the day, the core thing you are looking for is that feeling of happiness, of joy, of satisfaction, of connection, of all of it. And in this world, we have a lot of blocks to it. So as you hop on, say hello, let me know that you are here, and let's have some fun together. So today I was talking about, I hate on YouTube that it doesn't like give you your title of what you said, like it was going to be, like, Facebook and all those, like it shows you them. I feel like this one I'm like, what did I say my title was? What did I say? But it was around I think it was the environment, how your environment influences you, right? How your environment influences you. And I think that we often I think that it's kind of it's like a twofold in a way. I think sometimes we think our environment, and we let our environment influence us too much. I don't know how YouTube chat works, Anna, but she's here. A lot of times I feel like we let our environment influence us too much. And sometimes we also don't pay attention to the underlying things in our environment that are influencing us. One of the reasons I have created something like the weekly wake up, why I have created our app and our membership and the things, is because your environment matters. But I think we often think of our environment only as like physically what's around us. And I think our actual physical environment actually has a lot less influence on us than our emotional, our people environment, which is why I think the online world is so fascinating, because I think you can be in a lot of not so great physical environments, and you can utilize, like you're doing right now by being here with me, you can utilize something like this to actually shift your energetic environment in a way. Because at the end of the day, all the physical stuff is physical. It's here. It's not necessarily influencing you as much as you think it's influencing you. What influences you the most about your physical environment is actually what you're making your physical environment mean. So it's actually not the environment you're in that's influencing you. It's what you're making the environment you're in mean about you, if that makes sense, right? So let's say you're sitting here in an environment that the world has deemed not abundant, not wonderful, not everything you wanted it to be. And you've decided that being in this environment makes you feel bad, makes you feel icky, makes you feel not great. It's kind of like, I remember reading a book by Mandela when he was in prison. And, he said the time he felt the freest, where he found his true freedom, was in prison. And I remember, and this is obviously very different, like I was not Nelson Mandela, like locked up in prison for a whole bunch of years. But I remember during the pandemic, I remember during the pandemic when we were in lockdown, and keep in mind, I'm in Texas, so we were in lockdown for not that long. But I do remember like and actually my family was more locked down because my husband was very, he was a little bit more in the reality of, oh, the world, we got to stay in and all of that, than I was. But I remember having this moment where I was sitting in my office, actually in my house, and I was thinking to myself, oh my God, like I can't go anywhere. I can't see my family. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. But I actually feel more free than I've ever felt before. And it really made me realize, and I thought immediately when I had this feeling, I thought of Nelson Mandela, and I thought, oh my God, like I get it. I get what he's saying. And I've had this happen a lot of times in my life where, like, I remember having the moment when kind of everything changed for me with money. Like literally everything changed. The moment I like felt the most abundant in my life and everything started shifting was when my account was like overdrafted by like a couple $1,000s. And I remember being like, no, this isn't how I live anymore. Like I'm abundant. Like that environment isn't who I am. It isn't who I am. And so it's really interesting, you guys, because I think that we often think our outside environment needs to change so that we can feel different. And I think that that's what we always are striving for in a way. Like we're looking into our environment and we're like, what do I need to change? Do I need to clean that? Do I need to do that? Do I need to shift that? And sometimes there is an external change that needs to happen, but it usually starts inside first. Usually we have to cultivate the feeling. Like people will say to me, how do I feel free? How do I feel safe? How do I feel abundant? Right? Like, is it that I need to go move to a different country? And you see this a lot with people. They're like, I need to leave my country. It's terrible. I need to leave this relationship. I need to leave this. And they often leave it just to find themselves having the same feelings, the same longings, the same missing things that they had back there. Because it's not an external job, it's an internal job that we're doing as humans. It's not about what's happening in your external, it's about what's happening in your internal. And so if you aren't working on how you actually feel about things, your external environment, you can change it all you want, but it's actually not going to make you feel any different. It's not going to make you feel any different. And so we got to work on how we're actually relating and feeling about it. Like I said, when your external environment isn't making you feel good, it's actually because what are you making it mean about you? How are you feeling about it? What if you just decided to feel differently? And sometimes it's really hard to do that because we have a bunch of programming and conditioning that keeps us from being able to feel any differently. We're literally programmed to say, this means this. 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 And so you're over here trying to cultivate a different feeling around something, and your body, brain, your nervous system, your DNA is like, no, that's not right. That's not right. And so then you have that disconnect. You have that uncomfortable feeling. So what are you making the things that are frustrating you in your external environment mean about you? And is it true? Because sometimes it might be true, and it's a part of us we don't want to accept. I'll give you a really interesting example, and I don't actually talk about this very publicly. I usually talk about this more in like the behind the scenes work, like when you're in my programs and stuff like that. But, I have a sister that I don't talk to for all sorts of reasons, but mainly one reason. But like I said, that I usually talk about in more of my behind the scenes stuff. But anyways, for a long time, and really, it's kind of an awkward situation with the family because it's kind of like, are there sides chosen? What really happens here? And everyone's kind of just stayed neutral-ish. But at the end of the day, what really kind of unfolded was almost like I kind of just had to back away. Like, it was just like, I had to almost like decide, like, they're kind of going to go on the same, and I'm the outsider. And it was really interesting because it was really, I kind of went through this process that I just told you guys about, where I was like, and it was devastating to me at first, right? Like, I had so much emotions around it. Like, they didn't choose me. And, I'm an outsider, blah, 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 blah. All of these things, so much emotions. And the emotions came from the fact that I didn't want that to be. Somebody had told me in my life, somewhere I had picked up that not being chosen was bad. Somewhere I had picked up that being the outsider was bad. Somewhere I had been programmed and conditioned to believe that, like, I must be this family unit like this. And I just wanted to be so included. I just wanted to be so included. But I really looked back and I never was. Not like I wanted to be, My parents actually divorced when I was really young. My dad remarried when I was a tiny baby. And they started having kids. And so it was kind of like I grew up with two families. Like, I grew up with my mom and my stepdad, and I grew up with my dad and my stepmom and my siblings, which are truly my half siblings. But it felt very like, it wasn't like I came into a family or anything like this. It was like, it was what I've known from inception. And I always so longed to be like full on, like a full sibling, a full thing. Like, right. Like, that was what the longing that I had in my heart so bad that I was like striving for, like, just to be included in that way. When all of this stuff went down with my sister, it was like, I felt like just showed even more that, like, I wasn't included. And for a long time that really hurt because it was a big wound I had. But once I cleared this wound, you guys, I was all of a sudden like, well, wait a second. What's the reality here? Like, I asked myself, what am I making this mean about me? Well, I'm making it mean that, like, I'm not like a full-fledged, like, person of this family. I'm different. I'm not the same. And then I had to ask myself, is that true? And it was. It is true. I wasn't there for every single thing. I was there at different times because I had a whole nother life over here. I had a whole nother set of parents. It was a different experience for me than it was for them. And I was making it mean something bad about myself. I was making it mean something was wrong. I was making it mean all of this stuff when the truth was I was somewhat of an outsider from this family unit. I was still loved. I was still accepted. I was still enjoyed. I was still wanted, but I was a little bit circulating on the outside. And I just did not want to accept that or believe it because I had made a whole bunch of bad meanings basically about that it meant like I wasn't as good as them. I wasn't, chosen. I wasn't all of these things when none of that was actually true. But the truth was, yes, I was a bit of an outsider looking in. And that's okay. And that's okay. That's okay. I started to fully come to the acceptance of who I am and the situation that I was part of. And I think a lot of times we have to take inventory of our environment and what in our environment is really causing us a lot of distress and why. What are you mean about you, and is it true? And if it is true and it's bothering you so much, what even further are you making it mean about you? Because we need to start detaching and releasing from a lot of these made up illusions that we have that are really keeping us from our potential in this life, from living our life. You guys, we give so much power to our environment. We give so much power to our environment when the environment actually has no power. It has no power. You have the power. You. The power is in you, not out here. But I want you to really think about this, and I want you to really think, where are you giving the power to, though? Are you giving the power to yourself and your ability to create what you want? Or are you giving your power to the people in your environment, the things in your environment, the money in your environment, the entities, the government entities, the media entities in your environment? Where are you giving your power to? Because if it's not being given to you, you're not giving it to yourself, you're giving it all over the place. And that's usually how our environment influences us. We look at our environment and we often think, oh my God, I live in this shitty apartment. I want it to be nicer. I want this. I want this. This is like keeping me back. This is all of this. You can go move into the big house tomorrow and the same feelings will arise, just in a different way. Just in a different way. It's almost like you have to learn to find all of those things in the environment that you're in for things to really, truly change in a way that lasts, in a really, truly way that and this is happiness. I mean, happiness is truly when the things in the external environment don't get you, don't fluster you. You see them for the illusions. You see them for the distractions. You see them for the dramas that they are. And you realize that they have no power over you. They have no power over you. No power. You have the power. You can create and cultivate any feeling at any time. And I know that that's annoying sometimes to hear. And I remember having times in my life where things had shifted for me. And it was so frustrating as to how can I get that feeling back? It was here. It was here. It was here. Where did it go? And this is where I often ask myself, what illusions am I buying into? What delusions am I believing in my environment that are keeping me from knowing these things right now? A lot of you that are in this world, and the ups and downs are annoying, Wendy, because you're really trying to embody this new way of being. A lot of you guys are here right now because you're truly embodying a new way to human. For a long time, we have been here for a few reasons. We've been here to procreate the earth, right? To populate the earth, right? Let's do a quick lesson. And you guys, I'm really, really excited. I have a whole new course that I'm going to be doing. I really feel like it's going to be the best course I've ever created. If you're in our membership, you're going to get it. Coming probably end of June, early July. It's literally going to be the best course. I cannot wait. So many things I wanted to teach and share for so long that I'm so excited to do in this new course. I'll actually be here on YouTube next week talking about it. But if you're in our membership, get excited. If you're not, get into our membership because it's coming. You'll also be able to just buy the course, but membership's better. Anyways, let's take a quick history lesson. When we look back at human, let's take a quick full-on lesson. We all started, everything in this world started as like a cell. And that cell then became something bigger. And then that thing became something bigger. And then that thing became something bigger. You know, at the end of the day, we share like 50% of our DNA with the potato. We're 50% potato DNA. Cool, right? Or somewhere around that. Like I might be misquoting that. But either way, you know, we share a heck of a lot of our DNA with the ape, right? Like they can look back, we evolve. It's like, you know, at one point a fish was like, I want to fly. And so the fish jumped out of the water, died. 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 Eventually the fish jumped out of the water. And this time evolution had finally started to create things where it could breathe. It evolved, but it took a lot of ups and downs for that fish to be able to breathe. Eventually that fish evolved into a bird. Now we have birds, right? So eventually at some point we evolved into humans, and there were a couple versions of us before this Homo sapien that we are now. I truly believe right now at this point, we are on the precipice of becoming whatever it is we are becoming next. I don't know what it is, but it might even be a Homo sapien, but it might be a Homo sapien who is able and ready to do different things. And so, Wendy, the ups and downs are super annoying, and I get it. I get annoyed with the ups and downs. But a lot of you have come here to really shift who we are and what we're capable of. And so for a long time, we have been Homo sapiens that our main purposes were survival, productivity, and populating, procreating. That was what we were wired for. We still have that animalness in us. We still have that emotional animal instincts in us, right? Like, you guys know sometimes like people piss you off to the point like you want to rip their throat out with your teeth. Now we don't, because in a civilized, well, some of us do, not all, you know what I'm saying? Most of us don't, because in a civilized society, we've been taught to suppress that part of us, which actually isn't good, because when you suppress those parts of you, you can't evolve past them. And so we're going through this process right now where we're really evolving into our next version. We're evolving into our next version. And our next version is a version that involves abundance, a version that involves community, a version that involves, I think, a lot of beauty. I think a lot of magic. I think a lot of ease. I think some of you may even have a glimpse of it. I know I get a lot of glimpse of it, this kind of new way of being. And so we're starting that evolutionary process. And in order to do that, we have to clear out and clean out a lot of the stuff. We got to grow the gills so we can breathe on the new earth. And I don't know about you, but growing gills seems like it could be a little painful at times, right? Our bodies are changing. And I think sometimes when we just allow for that and ease into it and relax and understand that this is part of the process, it makes it a whole lot easier. Okay? You guys are on the path. You're doing it. You're meant for this. You're here for this. You came here to do this. You got this. Don't forget that. Don't forget that ever. You're leading the way into the next version, into something better. Here's a news flash for everybody out there. We came here to evolve. Evolution is our thing. We are a living, breathing life source, and life consistently and always evolves. That's what life does. It evolves consistently and constantly. It evolves. We think we want to just stay still. We don't. We want to evolve. And in evolving, sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's messy. And some of you are here to evolve earlier than others. Some of you are here to kind of lead the way. Some of you are here to pave the path, cut down the trees, trim the grass. Because we're going new places. The reason you might look at this world and be so frustrated by it is because you're done with it. It's because you're done with it. And you came here to create something different. Now, the thing that often happens is people are like, oh my God, if I came here to create something different, does that mean I need to start a business? Does that mean I need to do this? Does that mean No. Half the time, it means you just need to be you. It needs to, like, you might be a mom who just is taking care of her kids, but you're also on the journey of expansion and evolution, and you're growing and evolving as a life force, which means you're paving the path. So remember that. You got this, you guys. You got this. If your environment frustrates you, what's it mean about you? It probably means nothing about you. If you're feeling off and weird inside, it's just an evolution moment. You're learning how to embody and hold. And you said it almost at the same time I was going to say it, your inner power. You're learning how to bring the magic back in. For a long time, remember, we came from animals. We've now begun to evolve to the point where we're able to pull the magic back in. Not all of us yet. Some of us still have to evolve to the place where the magic can come in. And when we do, we start to become magic beings. And a lot of us are on the process to really becoming those magical beings. And then helping others become them. And something that this new course is going to be about is a lot of this information, understanding this, all these concepts. And I'm so excited to do it with you guys because I think everybody's ready. I feel like it's been on my heart for a while, but I haven't felt like it's time. And now I feel like it's time. It's time. All right, beautiful humans. Take a little inventory of your environment today and see if you can use it to kind of pull some of those beliefs and emotions out of your body so you can feel a little lighter, so you can feel closer to that inner power, to that evolutionary space of where we are going, not where we've been. It'll feel good. It'll lighten you up. And just remember, through the ups and downs, it sometimes takes a moment to embody these new things. But you're doing it. Yep, you choose to be here. You're here, girl. I'm here. And be around people. I know a lot of you on here, you're already in our membership. Go talk about this in the membership. Go start conversations. Get on those daily doses with me. Be in the live energy. It's important during this time for us to be together. Be here on the weekly wake ups. It's important for us to be together as we do this, as we evolve and create this new space, this new human, this new thing together. All right, beautiful humans. I love you. You're amazing. And I will see you next week.